Right, and here we are at the top of page 4 for 4.4. It's our last page, and we're now in the Practice Plus section, which means we're combining a couple different skills. So in this case, we're going to do some translating. We're also going to bring in some knowledge about perpendicular and parallel. The next problem in the next video will be a try problem, and it'll involve parallels. We're doing the perpendicular together in the notes. So our goal is to write an equation in y equals mx plus b of the line described. So this is a description of a line right here. In other words, it gives us some clues about the line. And what we're aiming for, our goal, is to represent that line in slope-intercept form. So now we're going to take some information and create the equation, which means that we need the y-intercept where it crosses the y-axis, that b value, that y-coordinate of the y-intercept. We also need the slope, which is going to be our m value. So we need the rise over run. So let's see what, and they're going to give us some clues to those two pieces. So we're going to write an equation for the line that's been described. They're describing the line now. The y-intercept is 7, and the line is perpendicular to the line whose equation is y equals 8x minus 3. So there's two things we need. We need the y-intercept. Okay, they just told us what the y-intercept is. The y-intercept of the line that's being described is 7. That means our b is equal to 7. It crosses the graph at the y-axis at 0, 7. Okay, so all we need is this value of 7. B equals 7. We have part of the equation already now. We want y equals mx plus b. We just figured out our b value. Okay, now we just need m. And the clue they give us about slope is that the line we're trying to write an equation for is perpendicular to the line whose equation is y equals 8x minus 3. So we need to bring some knowledge to this situation of what perpendicular means. So bring your own formula, bring your own knowledge. What does perpendicular mean? And we've mentioned it in our notes recently. We've been talking about it in class. But perpendicular means that the lines cross at 90 degrees. Well, that's what happens on the graph. What happens in the equation, or the slopes themselves are negative inverses of each other. And I believe we covered that in 4.3, I want to say. So if you are a little unsure about that, if that sounds like brand new information, go back and watch some of the sections of 4.3, or go back through the notes, or recheck some of the practice problems. In fact, at this stage in the game, you might want to watch some notes, try some problems, watch some notes, try some problems, watch some notes. That might be a better fit because there's a lot of information happening, especially in this chunk right now, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4. But up to you. You are learning your best style of how you gain knowledge and retrieve and store information, so you do what's working best for you. But the slopes are negative inverses if the lines are perpendicular. So they're telling us that the line we're trying to write an equation for is perpendicular to this line. So if we knew the slope of this line, so we'll call this line 2, and we're trying to come up with line 1. Line 1 is perpendicular. Line 1 that we want is perpendicular. That's that upside down T. It's perpendicular to line 2, which means that their slopes are negative inverses. So if we knew the slope of line 2, we could flip it and make it the opposite sign, and it would create the slope that we need for our line. So that would mean we would take this and we would flip and give it an opposite sign. So if this were positive, it would flip and become negative. If this were negative, it would flip and become positive. So we want to know the slope of this second line, and we actually do know the slope of this second line. They tell us the second line is y equals 8x minus 3. It's perpendicular to this one right here. Well, this is in y equals mx plus b form. It's solved for y. So because it's solved for y, this number in front of our x here is the slope of the line that it's perpendicular to. It's a slope of 8, or 8 over 1. What's the flip of that? The flip of that is 1 over 8. What's the opposite sign of positive 8 over 1? It's negative 1 over 8. We now have our slope for the line that we're trying to describe here. It's y equals negative 1/8 x plus b. Okay? So they gave us some clues. They just gave us the intercept. And then they told us that it was perpendicular to the line. So we took our knowledge of perpendicular, it's a negative inverse slope. We took the line that they gave us that we're comparing to, noticed it was in mx plus b form, took that slope from the number in front of the x, flipped it and gave it the opposite sign, went from 8 over 1 to 1 over 8 and made it negative, and that is our perpendicular slope. Negative 1/8. Y equals negative 1/8 x plus b. So our final answer is y equals negative 1/8 x plus b. That is the slope-intercept form of the equation that was being described. Okay, we'll see you at the bottom of the page in the next video.